Hi everyone, it's MK. Welcome back to this session for Pro Stitcher Sim Style. So the idea for today's video actually came about during a recent quilt show that I was working with my handy quilter retailer. I was showing the machine, and this year I was also showing the customers who came to our booth the great thing called simulation. I had my laptop there. I also had the machine there with the Pro Stitcher. And I began to show people how, either by working on my laptop or working at the tablet at the machine, I could create a new block from 2 or 3 other patterns that were already a part of the software. So I thought I would show that to you today. So we're going to go inside a simulation. We're going to take some units that already come with your Pro Stitcher, and we're going to combine them together to make one new block. At the end, I'm going to meet you back here and talk you through some of the extras that are at the end of the video. So I'll see you inside simulation.
All right, so here we go. I thought I would start this session by showing you what we're working toward building. So this is our finished block. And this block is actually made up of 3 separate units. There's a block in the middle, another block in the middle of that, and there's triangles set out on the outside. All right, let's build it. Okay, so these are the patterns that we're going to be using today. They all come free with your Pro Stitcher. This is a beautiful block by Kim Brunner. This is a free block from Handy Quilter, and this is also a free triangle from Handy Quilter. So let's go ahead and start from the middle of our block and work out. So we're going to choose this one to start with. Okay, remember in Sim, a lot of times I will hit refresh or simply hit the pan button and pan it over so that we can see what's going on the screen. I'm going to make sure that my box down here is depressed so that we can see the outline of our box. Okay, what I a lot of times do when I'm building some sort of a new block or a medallion is I resize it right off the bat. This particular block is 15 inches. You might want to resize your block to be closer to what would fit inside of your throat depth. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at 15. I'm going to create an area that exactly matches this block. Okay, so we want 15 by 15. And the reason that I'm doing that is, again, remember, a lot of what we do in simulation relates to our alignment. So all I did right there was create an area and align my block into the center of that area. Okay, well there we have one block. Let's continue to build. We want to fill in this area here, and we want to fill in our triangles. Let's go ahead and work in the center. So let's open up the next block that we're going to use. Here's the hearts all around. Okay, again, it pops off the screen. How do we fix that? Well, why don't we go ahead and do our alignment first. Let's align it in the center, both vertically and horizontally, and then hit refresh so we can see it on the screen. Obviously, this block is too big. All we have to do now that the alignment has been locked is resize it. So I'm just depressing my minus button until I can see that block fit right inside of the center there. That looks good. Okay, now we want to fill in some triangles around the outside. So let's go ahead and open our triangle. Now the one thing that I want to point out about this triangle is that it is a point-to-point triangle, and not all triangles are point-to-point, but we want to use a point-to-point one in this particular example because I want to give you a hint later on in the session. All right, let's go ahead and rotate this triangle. I'm going to work on the top right-hand corner first, so I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees clockwise. Then I'm going to align it into the corner where it needs to be, and then I'll refresh so we can see everything on the screen. Now it just so happens very nicely that this triangle fits pretty well right there in the corner. But let's say that we picked a triangle that was way too big or way too small for that space. So I'm just going to grow that triangle a little bit just for demonstration purposes. So let's say that we had opened a triangle and it was this big. Well, obviously it was too big. All you would have to do is place that triangle where it needs to be, regardless of the size. Once it's aligned properly, just go ahead and resize it, making sure your lock aspect is turned on. And you can just resize it exactly how big it needs to be. That looks pretty good to me, so let's stop there. Okay, just like we've done in other examples, we're going to go ahead now that we have this the correct size, and we're going to duplicate it and position it around the horn. Here we go. Now just keep in mind, folks, that you can duplicate and place these things in a number of different ways. You can do flip and mirror, you can do rotation with 45, and whatever keeps your start and stop points in the correct location is probably what you want to do. Here's a quick tip to move on. We want to go ahead and select this triangle and this one together. That'll give us a little bit quicker way to duplicate them. So we can duplicate them together instead of duplicating them separately. We can rotate that. Now we can just flip it and we can align it where it needs to be. So just as easy as that, we have created for ourselves a new block. Couple more tips before I end this really quick video. Up here under the select button, I'm going to click on the button single. This option will show you everything that we have open. So as I click through the list, you can see all of the names, all of the units that we have open. If we select all of those units together and hit baseline, we will create for ourselves a brand new block. So I'm going to hit baseline. I'm going to give it a name. Let's just call it new block. Naming it doesn't save it, so let's go ahead and save it. And now that block would be ready to take to our machine and stitch. Now, as this is stitching out in simulation, I want to just mention one thing. This whole entire block is 15 inches. And as we built it, Pro Stitcher kept in mind what order we were building it. So if you remember, we started with the Kim Brunner block, and that's what's stitching right now. Then we skipped to that block, and that's what's stitching next. And then we worked ourselves around with our triangles. And so that is the stitch order currently. Because our block is 15 inches, and that's small enough to fit within my throat depth, I think it would be fine to stitch it this way. Now, there is an option to rearrange your stitch order. That's a little bit more of an advanced technique, but if you're familiar with stitch order, before you save it as one new block, you can reorder your stitch order. The other thing you can do is take it into Art and Stitch and combine your triangles into one pattern. Remember, our triangles were point to point, which means that they really would connect if they were placed side by side. Well, they're not exactly side by side, but the points would connect up if we took those into Art and Stitch, and that would make that unit stitch all as one unit instead of 4 triangle units. So there's a lot of different things that you can do by just starting with a few simple designs, leaving them open on the screen, placing them into one area, and creating for yourself a new block. I hope this has been helpful, and as I fade out, I'm going to close this block, and I'm going to show you the new block that I created when I was done with this video, so that you can see, hopefully, how you could take this to the next step and continue to build on what I've shown you. Until next time, everyone, happy quilting!
Still small voice cries out to my soul, come, come my love. my sister, my beloved, come, my dove, my perfect one.
So there you have it. I hope that you've seen how simple it is to just take some designs that you already have, create for yourself an area, and start filling those designs in to make a new design. A lot of times what I'm doing inside of simulation is creating patterns and layouts that actually relate to a quilt. In this particular example, I'm just creating for the sake of creating because it's fun. At the end of that video, I took it to the next step and I continued to build on that block that we created. And I hope that that starts spinning the wheels for you and that you can see how you can just continue to build from the inside, make it a little bigger, add some more things, make a new area, add some more things, and the sky is the limit. So until next time, everybody, happy quilting. Bye-bye.